We want to bring you up to date on some news concerning Facebook. Remember that hack attack that apparently engulfed about 50 million Facebook accounts? Facebook has clarified and updated that to say 29 million. The stock isn't moving measurably one way or the other on this. 29 million is still 29 million compromised accounts, but not 50 million. The rest of technology for the day, it had been up and up strongly in the case of some of the dominant issues like Apple and Amazon. With the exception of those issues, some have come well off their highs, like Microsoft. I think that was up about 4% earlier on in the day, now about 2%. Alphabet of Google fame have been up about 3.5%, now up about 2%. Not bad, though. Let's get the read from tech analyst Shana Glenzer. Shane, a lot of people are going to look at this and say, tech brought me to this party, rewarded me richly at this party. Should I stay in this party? What do you tell them?
Now is not the time to leave the party. There may be a lull in the party. Someone might be talking a little too long and you might be getting bored, but you need to stick around. I think what we're seeing today is indication that people are unsure if this is a correction or if it's just a blip. And so we need to at least have people stick around to see that through.
A lot of people are saying that even with this hit that technology stocks face, that I guess in terms of multiples, they're still rich, certainly compared to the S&P 500, which some analysts say itself is still rich. Where are you on that without getting too wonky here, the fact that even with their comeuppance, they have more to give back?
Yeah, and I'm certainly, you've had some folks on talking about the market, and they're unsure, where it's headed. And so from a tech perspective, I think that these companies are, we have earnings coming up, and we'll see, their valuation is high, and their value continues to grow. And I just don't see that stopping because of this blip, and I don't see that stopping because of the multiples that you're seeing either. Yeah,
I mean, the argument for that is that then Apple, by definition, is going to sell or make fewer iPhones or iPads or anything else, and that Amazon is going to be any less able to expand into so many different markets. So I understand where you're coming from there, but is the go-go nature of some of these stocks at least in question here? In other words, it was like, fool's gold. You could go into it, leave it, and get quickly enriched.
I think the quick part is what we're seeing the pullback on right now. I think you got to stay with it. You got to stay long term. There are some other things that are concerning, right? We heard from the Postal Service last week that they might increase, 9 to 12% increases on fees that they charge for Amazon shipping, starting in January if it gets approved. There are things like that are certainly going to be challengers in this, earnings report and moving forward. But again, it is a long game right now with tech stocks, but I still think it's a rewarding longer game than perhaps people are giving it credit for.
How does the holiday shopping season look for a lot of these guys? That's where they get a lot of their sales. Microsoft with a lot of devices it sells, and Surface Books and what have you, and Apple obviously with a host of similar products. Amazon, to say nothing of just the demand for hopping on its site and buying all of this. But what do you make of how the season's going to look now? Some people are worried about higher tariffs and the effect of trade. What do you think?
I think that investors and the coverage that this is getting might, are clearly weary of higher interest rates and the global economic tensions, and that may have may cause people to penny pinch more this holiday season. But I think over the next few weeks we'll know a lot more about how willing people, in the elections, we'll know a lot more about how willing people are to spend. But people, Apple has released its latest and greatest iPhones, and people will, these companies will continue to release gadgets and gizmos and the holiday shopping lure that they have in the past. And hope that consumers will come out.
Well, you've been an uncannily prescient read on a lot of this stuff, so let's see if I can catch you slipping here, Shana. But thank you very, very much. Good catching up with you.
Thanks, Neil.